Did you know that the cars we use today didn't appear overnight? The invention of the automobile is actually the result of a long development process that took thousands of years. In other words, the car wasn't born from a single person suddenly saying, Eureka! Instead, inventions from different eras built on one another, eventually turning into the modern vehicle we know today. And this story begins with a very simple invention, the wheel. When the wheel was first invented, people no longer had to drag heavy loads for hours. Carts appeared, and thanks to horses and other animals, people could carry more goods over longer distances. This was a huge turning point in the history of transportation. Trade became easier, people moved faster, and over time, cities and roads began to develop. In fact, these carts were the earliest ancestors of the automobile because the basic idea was the same, moving using a vehicle on wheels. As time passed, a big question started to grow in people's minds. How can we move without a horse? That question accelerated the search for new technology. In the 18th century, some inventors began experimenting with steam power. They built large, heavy vehicles that could move using steam engines. They didn't look like today's cars, more like huge moving metal machines. And they had many problems. They were heavy, slow, difficult to control, and they often broke down. But despite all these issues, those early experiments were extremely important because they proved something revolutionary. A vehicle could move on its own. In other words, movement didn't have to depend on animal power. The real breakthrough came with the invention of the internal combustion engine. So what does internal combustion mean? It means the fuel burns inside the engine, and the energy created by that combustion moves the vehicle. Compared to steam power, this system was much lighter, more powerful, and far more practical. It could run on fuels like gasoline, which made the idea of a self-moving vehicle realistic and usable in everyday life. At this point, one of the most famous names in automotive history steps forward, Carl Benz. In the late 1880s, Benz developed one of the first practical automobiles. Of course, it wasn't fast, comfortable, or safe like modern cars. But the basic logic was the same. There was an engine, there were wheels, and a person could use it to travel from one place to another. When people saw this vehicle at the time, they were shocked, and some were even afraid. The idea of a horseless carriage felt strange. People wondered, how does it go? How does it stop? How is it controlled? In some places, when an automobile passed by, crowds would gather just to watch it, almost as if they were witnessing something magical. But the person who truly helped the automobile spread widely was Henry Ford. Ford's goal was to make cars not just for the rich, but for everyone. To do that, he introduced a revolutionary method of production, the assembly line, also known as mass production. Instead of building cars slowly by hand, piece by piece, parts were assembled in order. Production became faster and costs dropped. As a result, the automobile stopped being a luxury and became part of everyday life. People could commute more easily, travel became simpler, cities expanded, and roads grew wider. Gas stations were built, traffic rules developed, and a driving culture was born. In the end, all these developments turned the automobile into more than just a tool for transportation. It changed the way people lived. Distances felt shorter, time savings increased, and freedom of movement grew. Journeys that once took days could now be completed in hours. The automobile became one of the greatest inventions shaping the modern world. So in summary, the story of the automobile can't fit into a single day. It started with the wheel, advanced through steam experiments, grew stronger with the internal combustion engine, took shape with Carl Benz, and spread across the world with Henry Ford. And now, here's the big question. What do you think the next major change will be? Electric cars or fully self-driving vehicles?